A team from the University of Montana is working with more than 50 other groups from across the country, helping to collect data for NASA during next week's solar eclipse.
It's quite the time to do an experiment. The UM team is sending a video camera along with a number of sensors and detectors nearly 20 miles into the atmosphere. And as Eric Clemens reports, the data could help NASA learn some very important things.
On the morning of August 21st, 2017, millions of Americans will gaze upon one of nature's most spectacular displays, a total solar eclipse. And while people marvel at the first eclipse of this kind to cross the continental U.S. in nearly a century, 55 teams from around the country will be hard at work, conducting experiments and collecting data for NASA. One of those teams is from the University of Montana.
The purpose of our experiment is to monitor how the planetary boundary layer is affected by the eclipse. So changes in temperature, UV radiation, generation of buoyancy waves, stuff like that.
They'll do this by sending a box containing a number of sensitive instruments about 100,000 feet into the stratosphere. That's nearly 20 miles above the ground. The team needs these instruments to arrive at just the right time to gather as much data as possible, and that takes some careful coordination. The 8-foot-tall helium balloons used to launch the tools rise at a rate of nearly 5 meters per second. That's about 11 miles per hour. So it takes nearly 2 hours for the payload to arrive. One thing the team is researching is gravity waves.
Eclipses have been known to cause gravity waves with the superheating of the air once it comes back. So what's going to happen is it's going to superheat that column of air, and it's going to want to lift it up, and then it's going to want to get back to its equilibrium.
During the eclipse, the air temperature can change by about 10 degrees, causing pockets of turbulence called gravity waves. The team is sending instruments called radiosondes into the atmosphere to detect those waves, with the hope of improving weather prediction equipment and techniques back on terra firma. This experiment is also taking some passengers on board. Cultures of bacteria are going along for the ride to simulate how microbial life functions in extreme environments, like, for example, the surface of Mars.
So the stratosphere is very, very similar to the Martian atmosphere, what we see on Mars with its atmosphere. So in order for us to mimic that environment, the stratosphere is a perfect location for us to send that bacteria. I think they're looking to kind of estimate or study how life on Mars would react, or how it basically exists, how it forms, how it multiplies, and all that stuff, and if it can survive that type of environment, really.
Once the eclipse is over, the 55 teams will recover their data and begin analyzing and researching their findings. In Missoula, Eric Clemens, MTN News.
The UM team leaves for Fort Laramie, Wyoming tomorrow afternoon to prepare. They'll set up right in the center of the path of that solar eclipse coming up on Monday.